Das Forum Nordicum wird unterstützt durch die deutsche Avia Mineralöl GmbH.
Dankeschön, Dankeschön. I will also talk in English, I guess, just to keep the FIS tradition. It's our first language, and I think then at least everyone can understand decently. My English is better than my German. So some updates from Nordic Combine. Just also quickly, I think we all, hopefully, that are interested know the situation from last season. But just quickly, we had a couple of dominators, as we've had some years in Nordic Combine. One of them on the men's side and the other one on the women's side, even though the women's side was a bit more exciting. Riber and Hagen, so Ida Maria and Jarl Magnus winning almost everything. Jarl Magnus putting in records, as he has done for the last 3-4 years. So it's of course very impressive on that side. On the other side, from a neutral position, we of course want more athletes to fight up in the top together with these two. So they both won the overall, they won the compact mini globe as well. Of course, it means that we have less winners on both sides, as natural. Good was Austria winning the overall World Cup for the men's for the first time since 2010. It's been between Germany and Norway, and Austria on the men's side stepped it up this last season. And the women's were won by the Norwegian Federation. I think these are the numbers that I would like to focus a bit on, which is of course extremely important for us, looking at the youth and looking at what happened and what happens. I presented last year also Youth Cup. I think I have a quick one here. But Jorg and Junior Worlds, first of all, both genders with equal programs in both events. And for us, the most important thing, overall for those two events, we had 8 nations bringing medals back home. And as you know, and as I will bring up a bit later as well, the IOC, and we are working closely with IOC, will present next week to them. And of course, for us, extremely important to make sure that we show them the diversity for Nordic Combine. This was one of the points. That IOC put forward to us that we need to show for the future. So of course for us, extremely important. Then also from this summer, as I presented also last year, with our Youth Cup, which again had record numbers, with 129 athletes. We were in Chaguns, from 13 nations and 8 of them being on the podium. Last year we had Thailand representing in Nordic Combine. Unfortunately, he was not there. He is with the Finnish team this year. And due to financial situation, they even don't took part in the Youth Cup as they have for a long time. Rule update, I don't think I need to go through this in detail. I think most of it is also said by my colleagues, especially Sandro, in terms of the ski jumping part. I think the triple will go back to its origin or original rules, meaning that we will the athletes will bring the results from day 1 to day 2 and to day 3. Last couple of years we've had a bit of a different setup. We have seen it has not really given us what we wanted, so after a deep analysis of the last years, we found this as the best way to go for the triple in the future. And with that, of course, now for the first time also with the women's, so the women's will have the triple as well as the men's have in Seefeld. So very much looking forward to that as the World Cup highlight of the season, which I think and hope that will be a very interesting and challenging event. Also for the women's this year, for the first time after the World Championships in Trondheim, the women's will have their premiere in Holmenkollen on the large hill. So only after 4 or 5 years in World Cup, we are introducing the women's to the large hill event, and I think this is also an important step just as a discipline, and of course for us as well in terms of the future, in terms of calendar planning, it makes a lot of sense for us as well to hopefully have them more and more with us on the same hill and also then on the larger hills, so that we are sustainable in that direction as well for the next seasons to come. World Championships, just quickly, what is new? The mass start for the women, which was a wish from the organizing committee. That means also that the Nordic combined women have 2 individual events. They're all or both on the normal hill together with the mixed team. And the new compact format was decided this spring, that was also be introduced into the World Championship normal event. So that happens the first week of the championships. I don't know if Gro mentioned it, but also for us, of course, very important, with equal prize money for both genders for World Championships. Also an exception on the last event of the World Championships in Trondheim will be that we will ski the 7.5 plus 2.5 course. In close cooperation with our cross-country colleagues, this is also the day of the 50K. So I think that will be a final fantastic event in Trondheim. So we will use 3 different courses in Trondheim. First week on that side, and this course 2.5, and then for the team event for the men's we are skiing on this course, and then the 10K individual large hill on the 2.5 plus 7.5 course. This has been mentioned over and over again. This day, I think it started before lunch with Bruno and Benny, so I might not need to go in detail, but we are in close cooperation with the FIS sustainability system, with Susanne and also our partner from Visman, working on this project, which is of course I think important for all of us. I think a pilot project in FIS we are working towards, and together with all our organizers, to find different and specific sustainability programs and projects for each and every one. And of course, after the season, through the CO2 calculator and through all the different systems that we have, we will report from each and every venue after the season, also as an overall Nordic combined discipline on this topic. For us, of course, one of the topics is the common waxing, which also Michael mentioned. That is one of the, let's say, steps that we are doing in this direction. The other one is the calendar planning, which is not easy, but is one of the tasks for the future that we really, really need to look into. And I've written spoiled athletes, meaning that we have spoiled our athletes over some years, and to make a change, let's say comparison is that we, for Nordic combined, we have changing cabins and waxing cabins, and as you've seen also with biathlon, there's a lot of cabins, which is a huge cost, also transport wise. And if we look at an alpine event, I visited the World Cup alpine event last winter, and they're lying out in the snow on top, preparing for them to go down Kitzbühel. So here we need to also change the, let's say, the attitude and the thought from a teams and a athlete perspective, not to just demand in the future, which is for sure a challenging process for all of us. But this is a very important project for us, and of course we'll report on this if we are invited next year, Torsten, to the event. So I can do this first. This is the road to the Olympics in 2030. And for Nordic Combined specifically, extremely important is a change that the IOC did in the decision-making process going forward, meaning that the decision for the 2030 program will be made next summer. Normally it is after the 2026 Olympics, like it was after Beijing in 22. They have now adapted the winter process accordingly with the summer process, so it means 1 year earlier. So it means that we are somewhere here going into the 25 season, and after the season, meaning somewhere in June next year, the decision for the 2030 program will be made, and of course that is important for us. So we are in close cooperation with the IOC. We will have a meeting with them next week, and are working in, of course, that direction, and are assuming and hoping that the decision will be clear, that of course Nordic Combined is part of the Olympic future as well. And when I say Nordic Combined, it means both genders, of course. So that's the road towards that decision, which will be made next summer. Part of that may be also very interesting is that we are moving forward not only for the women's, but also for the men's. So very happy for the next step for the women's. So thanks to my colleague Sandro, and also to the Austrian Ski Federation for putting the ski flying, first ever ski flying event for Nordic Combined on the program. It will happen in 2026, which means just a few days after the Olympics in Milano Cortina. So I think a very good and exciting step. We will come back with more detailed rules. At the moment there are rules in our system, meaning the top 30 from the blue bib ranking, which means the ski jumping ranking, are qualified to start. We have 0.6 points per meter for those who are very detailed. And the proposal at the moment is to have a compact event, but we know that it will be discussed again in the spring, and therefore the final decision on this is not taken. Then I think calendar is the last slide I have for the coming season. I think there is a TBC, so no specific specials on either women's or men's. We are always together except Ruka. And Lahti for the men's this season. Next season also the women's will be in Lahti. We do have a TBC event in January for the men's that we are still working on, and we will hopefully in very short time, meaning days, have a decision on this. Questions? If not, then
Perhaps in Germany?
That is possible, yes.
Okay. Other questions? No?
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay. I have to say thank you. Das Forum Nordicum wird unterstützt durch die deutsche Avia Mineralöl GmbH.